It's Walter with another episode of the HealthLink Podcast. We got a special guest for you today. Man, I've been trying to hunt this man down, and we finally got him. Marlon Ransom of Ransom Coffee, and he's going to sit down with us today and give us a little insight into his life journey and what it takes to make a great cup of coffee. What's going on, Marlon?
What's going on, Mr. Walter? Jiu-jitsu?
Look, when I have guests on or when I'm talking to all my friends, I let them know up front, I can beat y'all ass. So I say what I want to them, right? This case is not the case. So I'm about to be real nice on this interview because that's how we met. Jiu-jitsu, right?
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
For you all that do not know, he's known on the jiu-jitsu mats as Mr. Walter Jiu-Jitsu. And when I told people I was coming to see you, the overwhelming amount of love and excitement and expressions of like, oh my God, tell him I said hello, was a lot to take in. So,
man, that's an amazing
place. You should know that you are very much still in the fabric of those jiu-jitsu mats.
Man, Marlon, and you can attest to that. That's like, going there is like therapy, man. It's a great experience. You get to work out, amazing people, and then we get to do something that we love.
I agree. I second all those things you just said.
Now, I started going to jiu-jitsu. I was brand new. You had already been there. Well, I think when I started, you were a blue belt. I think you were a blue belt. You didn't get your purple yet. And I said, another older guy in here.
Yeah, that's an elder statesman, if you will.
Not too many.
Seasoned.
They go to the executive class and they train with the old guys. Say, he's in here scrapping with the young dudes. Okay. And then I said, all right, he's a brother too. I looked out on that mat. I'm like, woo, he's a little rough. I said, I'll wait to pair up with him later. Man, you are a fighter, brother. I mean, how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
Come on, man. Stop.
I'm just telling the truth.
You're flipping the script. No. So what he's really trying to say is he is the one he was describing. I am the one who was a little timid, I'm not.
What? Let me tell you a story. It's like 4 major jiu-jitsu tournaments, and one of them is called the Pan American.
That's true.
And I remember I was going to the Pan Americans, and you fought that year. And I fought my first round, and I'm like, well, good. I probably fought the strongest dude I ever fought. He's like, I couldn't move him. Now, you were in a weight class above me, so we weren't in the same bracket, right? So after I got finished fighting him, I'm like, Lord, I didn't sign up for this. This is just too much. I got 2 more rounds of this. I can't do it.
Physical, emotional, a lot of things.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay? I said, I don't know if I can do it. I'm walking back to the locker room to get ready for my second match, and I'm walking across the mats, and I look over, and you're fighting this huge dude. He was an ex-football player. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking over there. Bro, they were going at it. I'm like, oh, my God. I've never seen a match so aggressive in my life. I said, if he can get out there and do that, you inspired me, brother.
Well, likewise. Likewise.
Yes, sir.
Likewise.
So how long you been doing jiu-jitsu?
That's a great question. But I'd have to say I started jiu-jitsu. So, okay, my son was 12. My son had been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 5. My daughter had been doing jiu-jitsu since she was around the same age, younger than him, like 3. And when he was 12, he came home from school one day, and we would always, wrestle around. And he happened to get me in a zipper choke and choked me. I was asleep. I woke up.
What?
Both my kids are looking at me. I'm looking at them, and I realize, okay, I've just been choked to sleep by my 12-year-old. I then promptly tell them it's time to go do your homework. And the next day, I walked in and told Danny, how much is the unlimited? and I need to sign up. Here's my credit card number. Because I'm like, he's not going to be 15, 16, and I'm telling him what to do, and he's looking at me like, yeah, what? Or what? I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
Ugly, huh?
I'm like, that's not going to happen. Oh, no, that's not going to happen.
So your son inspired you.
So, well, out of fear. I don't know if it was inspiration. It was more fear.
Something moved
fear
you,
of the inevitable.
Right.
What would have happened had I not signed up.
Doesn't that tell you, though, the power of jiu-jitsu?
It tells me the power of not wanting to get choked out by my son. That's what it tells
For sure, huh?
Yeah.
Did you have a athletic background? Did you do sports when you were younger?
Well, that is an interesting question. Yes, I did. Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. And I'll say that because my dad forced me to do sports. I was never a team-oriented person or a sports-oriented person at all. I enjoyed writing, reading, things of that nature, drawing. All things frowned upon by my dad. So, thus, I had to do those things in secret. So, I was good in sports, but I didn't necessarily enjoy sports.
Okay.
Like I ran track, like my fastest 100 was 10.6. And my
That's
fastest...
pretty good 100. High school?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a long time
you
ago.
was moving.
And my fastest 400, which was the 440, then was 49.2.
Anytime you get in the 40s in high school, you cooking, bro.
Yeah, so I was very good at track, but I didn't like track. And
That's a tough sport to do if you don't like it.
I didn't like sports. I didn't like sports,
taxing.
period. But I played football, baseball. I played
all of them.
Yeah, but not to any degree of wanting to continue.
Got it.
At all.
After high school. Now, one interesting aspect of your life I want to talk about is your bodybuilding. Now tell me a little bit, because I love weightlifting and bodybuilding. So tell me a little bit about
I can
that.
tell. As you're still.
I try to keep a little bit on there. So tell me a little bit about that.
What, like the origin story? What do
When did you get started? Like you hear the common story. Oh, I was skinny and guys picked on me and I might have felt a little insecure, so I started lifting weights. Or some people start lifting weights from sports, playing football. Like, what brought you into weightlifting and bodybuilding?
So I could say I was skinny, I got picked on, everything you just said, that was my main motivation.
My goodness.
That was my main motivation. And you better believe I worked as hard as I possibly could. So that's what started me with lifting weights. And that's back in the day, there's no internet. That's was buying Muscle Builder magazine and reading and trying to emulate what I saw.
Right.
To be getting picked on
at school,
being
right.
skinny, and because I graduated high school, I weighed 150 pounds, 6'2". So I was always very, very
skinny.
You were
a rail.
Very skinny, and I always picked on because I grew up in Germany, and I moved from Germany to Columbia, South Carolina, and I went to an all-German school the last several years in Germany. So my English had a bit of a German accent to it. So I was picked on mercilessly.
So because of your size and your accent.
Yes. So but that had nothing on what I dealt with at home. So that was my main motivation.
Came from like a different type of household because I didn't have a father at all in the household.
You say wasn't around. Are you saying he was never there?
Yeah, never. I probably saw my dad 5 times in my whole life, right? So say I would like when I first joined football, I was just walking home from school. Oh, what are they playing? That looks fun. And I walked over and I played. So what I would do was, the guys with fathers, right? I said, I'm going to be that guy's friend because then his dad will show me what he's showing him. And he'd give me a ride home, and I would try to gravitate to the coaches just so I can kind of learn, because I know I didn't have a father and my mother wasn't into sports. But they try to say guys who grew up like us, right, who had these bad experiences with their father, end up being that kind of father. But like I was like you, man, that sucked so bad. I'm never doing that to my child. And that was my motivation for being a good father rather than emulating what he did. Now I was always into martial arts. Want to hear how I got into martial arts? You want a good laugh?
Please.
I was in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, because you took me to a dark place. I'd love to hear something funny, please.
I was in the 3rd grade, and this guy stole my bike. He was in the 6th grade. Now, you know, when you're that young, that 3 years is a huge difference, right? So came home, Mom, this dude stole my bike. Oh, where he live? That's how my mom was. Just get in the car, go take you over his house, go get your bike. I said,
So I'm
okay. I went, knocked on the door. He's like, he didn't get your bike. She said, fight him. I said, okay. He whooped my ass, right? She got me back in the car, drove me to...
With your bike?
No, he kept the bike. I lost the fight. She wasn't going to... She said, you get your bike. So I got back in the car. Thought we was going home. I'm like, damn, home is the other way. We went to this karate school. Put me in a karate school. One class. You know, the intro class.
Right.
Took me back to the dude's house the next day. I was like, Mom, I can't at least get the monthly special. Let a nigga get a belt or something. You gonna take me back the next day? I had to fight with all my might. I just did everything I could do, man, to win that fight and get my bike back, because she was going to take me back every day. I said, oh, my goodness. And that's how I got into martial arts.
Oh,
and my son,
Oh, God. Help
my
us
youngest
all.
son, he's a natural fighter, right? Come over to the Gracie Academy.
In Torrance?
In Torrance. Children's class. He was about 11 or 12.
Big class.
He's out there absolutely ragdolling those children. He's super aggressive, right? So Brian Ortega was teaching the class. You know, at the time, I think he was a purple belt.
Brian, good guy.
And when the class ended, he called me over. He said, hey, come over for a sec. I said, yeah. He said, man, I'm glad you brought your son. You know, he's a really good student. Glad to see his enthusiasm. He's a little aggressive. Could you bring him to the adult class? I was like, so then.
Let's put him straight in Gracie combatives.
So then I'm looking. I was like, I still whoop him. So I said, come on, let me show me this ju-jitsu stuff. So we in the front yard on the grass. We grappling. Next thing I know, he's mounted me, right? And he's messing with my arm. He's getting me in a Kimura, but I don't know.
Goodness.
So I'm like, I don't know the tap, right?
Oh, goodness.
The dude rips my shoulder out. Oh, he don't care. He's gonna fight hard. You got choked out, don't say nothing. I said, oh, hell no.
So we have a similar story.
Yeah, I went and found Cobrinia's because it was close to my job.
Okay.
And of course, Danny's at the front desk. She goes, you know, we have an introductory class if you want to. No introduction. Sign me up. I got to get this dude off me. It's crazy. Listening to you and following you online, really grounding for me. Like, I'm a by the numbers guy, right? When it comes to health and wellness, I'm a by the numbers guy. Oh, what's my blood pressure? What's my A1C? What's my number on my blood work? What's this? What's that?
Important. All
And
important things to know.
You did a video on your birthday. I don't know if it was last year, a couple years ago, whatever it was. And you talked about being present, right?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about being present. And that really gave me a different perspective on this health and wellness journey. It made me kind of get some insight and understand it's not just about physiology. It's also about, you know, mental and psychological awareness of where you stand. I mean, could you talk about that, being present for us a little bit?
Sure. Well, you know, if you saw the most recent video I posted in regards to my daughter had went to Thailand.
When Kai went to Thailand,
Yes.
and they had an earthquake.
They had a big earthquake over there. That was like 3-4 months ago,
Right.
maybe less than that. But it just, I having a son who has a chronic illness and having spent so much time in hospitals for so many years, and knowing other families who have kids with similar illnesses and who the kids have passed away, like, it gives you a different sense. Speaking for myself, it's given me a different sense of valuing time. So being present to me is always most important. Like I'll share with you that every single day, every morning, when I wake up, I look at my phone to see if my son has texted or called me, or if I've missed a call, or if he's texted me. Because if he hasn't, I have a sigh of relief. It's a comfort thing, because, and what I mean by that is, when you have anyone close to you that has a chronic illness and they're constantly in and out of the hospital and it's a serious situation, every day I wake up, I'm wondering if he's going to be okay.
Right.
And so if I don't get a message, I know he's okay, and then I can actually decompress, which I do automatically, and I say to myself, okay, now, and I don't say it out loud, it's just kind of a thought. Now I can focus on those things I want to do on my day. Right. Okay, I'm blessed to be alive. I go through my whole, morning things I go through of just being blessed that I'm alive, I'm lucid, I can see, I can get up. Small things that most people probably don't think about, but to me, those are all blessings.
Right.
But it starts with the blessing of knowing, okay, my son's okay today. So being present is always something I appreciate. Like speaking of jiu-jitsu, every Monday and Wednesday, I do the noon and the 7:20 class.
Okay.
So I do 2 classes Monday, 2 classes Wednesday, right? But it dawns on me that most people our age are not doing that.
Absolutely not.
So when I do the noon class, I try to conserve some energy. I try to,
The noon class. See, he says it like, that's the competition class. Meaning, that's the class where all the killers go. The people who go to that class are hardcore jiu-jitsu, and most of the class are competitors, are people who are training for competition.
He's not telling a lie.
No. Put it to you bluntly, I don't go to that class. I'm not scared. Even when I compete, I don't go.
But my point is, just to be able to go to one class and then reflect on what happened in that class, my interactions with the people I interacted with.
Right.
I am blessed. I'm legitimately blessed. Like, so many people will go like, oh man, it was a horrible day yesterday. Yeah, but you were alive yesterday.
Just
You're
being
alive
thankful?
today. Yes, for the good or the perceived not so good.
Right.
The point is, I can find something to be happy about. What that, my son just got his first apartment, solo apartment in lovely the East Village of Manhattan. So me and his mom had to get involved because I'd never heard of a broker fee. I'm like, what is this broker fee?
Is that a New York thing?
I just know it was something I'd never heard of. And I know when they said, okay, for this studio apartment, you're going to have X amount to move in. Oh, this amount has nothing to do with this amount. I'm like, oh, what is this amount?
Oh,
Needless to say, my son had this amount. So me and his mom we didn't have to, but we chose to get involved and give this amount. I'm blessed that I'm in a position to help my son get that apartment. And I'll have many people that I personally know that will go, man, why do you help him so much? Why do you? And you know what I say to them? And generally it's people who do not have children. But what I will say is, I did not have a father who gave me any opportunities at all. I am going to provide my children with as many opportunities as I'm able to provide them with. As long as they understand and they are working as hard as possible for me not to have to provide. If they feel entitled or not disrespect, that's a different story.
Right.
Because then it's not happening. But I will always help my children try to prosper to the best of my ability until I'm no longer breathing. So, did I answer your question though?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I think,
Does that make sense?
in my opinion, that's the responsibility of being a parent. Like that's
One would think.
If you care about your child. I heard Judge Judy say one time, I love the Judge Judy show, she said, just because your child turns 18 doesn't mean they don't need your help anymore. You know, they could need your help at 26 and 36, right? Mine are in their 30s.
Judge Judy keeps it real.
She keeps it real 100%.
Yes, she does.
Now, you have managed to keep yourself very healthy. I mean, today, you are still in fantastic shape. If you could give us 3 pieces of advice that you think are most important as we try to maintain our health into our 60s, what do you think are the 3 things that helped you to do that?
Whew. First of all, those days you're talking about, the bodybuilding days, the modeling days, there was a lot of unhealthy activity going on.
Sure.
And in that industry.
Yeah, that industry is not very healthy, right?
Well, I'd say it's the most unhealthy, which I can get dragged
in the
comments, no problem.
I would agree with you.
You look at it and go, oh my God, but these people are at the lowest body fat, the lowest this.
Dangerously low levels.
And I could get in, but my point is, so if I take into account all of the health issues I have had that have led me to where I'm at now, I would say, and this is where I'd have to intervene and say, interject or supplement, whichever word makes the most sense. My friend of 28, 29 years is a former professional wrestler named Diamond Dallas Page, better known as DDP. Government name, Page Joseph Falkenberg, turned
DDP!
Yeah, so he's been on a mission as a fitness guru with his DDP yoga, better known as DDPY now, of changing people's lives. And he's done it all through trial and error of him having injuries, him incorporating different things into his workout regimen, like physical therapy type things, yoga type things, and putting all things together. Different, like he stopped doing gluten back before there was a such thing of people stopped doing gluten. He was doing ice baths before people were doing ice baths.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll finish it off with, I used to work out with his girlfriend at the time, who became his wife, Kimberly, and when he came to town to wrestle, I went to see him at his hotel, one of my first times meeting him, and I open the door and go in, and he's standing there, and he got a bunch of ice packs taped to his body, and I'm wondering what the hell is going on. I say all that, not that I'm digressing, but I say all that to say, having him as my friend for all these years, sometimes you'll have someone that's your friend, and you kind of discount what they're doing because it's your friend, like, yeah, whatever, he's doing this too. But he's, in many ways, been a trailblazer for me because I've looked at him and said, damn, maybe I should try what he's doing. So a lot of his morning stretches and things he does, I've incorporated because it helps me.
So you've been using the DDP yoga.
I have, and I say that with a smile because I'm a weightlifter. But I started doing some of that because it helped me with getting my body to move. Because, when you're older, you're
thinking... Kind of like what? In flexibility and functionality?
Yeah, flexibility, mobility, flexibility, core strength. It's...
Because
So I would say...
Especially when they start turning 55, that starts to really diminish.
Meaning these were things I never cared about doing. So if I could go back in time, I would incorporate doing these things in my 20s.
Earlier in life.
I would. So I would say doing these core things, stretching, caring about the numbers, as you said, these are not things I cared about. Or doing any type of cardio. These are not things I cared about.
Right.
Like when I was 285, the last thing I ever wanted to do was lose weight. And I viewed cardio as losing weight. I'm not going to lose weight. I'm losing muscle.
To be massive.
Yes. So, but understand the motivation for wanting to be massive. So I'm going all the way back in our conversation.
Your childhood,
So I would say, I guess that was a long way to go around saying I would say incorporate, number one thing is listening to your body.
Ooh, crucial.
The number one thing is listening to your body. And I say that over listening, and people could be upset all they want, I say that over listening to a doctor.
Amen.
Because a doctor does not know what you are going through.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say the number one thing for me is listening to my body.
Okay.
The number two thing I'm going to say is taking heed of what I'm putting into my body.
So you mean diet-wise?
Well, I'm not going to use the word diet.
Okay.
I'm going to use the word lifestyle.
Whoa!
My lifestyle is I eat pretty much the same thing it's boring. It's boring. But guess what? I'm comfortable with
That's
that
a
boring.
gem right there.
I'm comfortable with it.
You don't need super variety in your
I'm
diet.
going to tell you a video you made, and I stood up while watching it. I stood up and I said, man, oh man. Man, that's what I did. I said, damn. And that's when you said, use the farmer's market as your pharmacy.
Right.
And I said, man, oh man, he is preaching. Who is in the congregation?
There you go.
That was my thought.
Yes,
when you said that. So anyway, listen to my body, number one. Take heed of what foods I'm putting in, number two. Like when I go and get almond milk, and people go, oh, it says unsweetened. But did you look at the ingredients? And when you have 30 different ingredients in almond milk, and it doesn't just say, how come it doesn't just say almonds? You got the wrong, put it down. Learning how to read labels.
There's more other stuff than
I could go on and on. I could go on and on. But my point is, what you put in your, be present in reference to listen to your body. Mm-hmm. What are you putting in your body?
Right.
And then having structured or strategic workouts based on the goals that you have. Like when I go to Gold's Gym Venice and I see people that are our age that are still doing things I did in my 20s, if you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And you're like, man, what are you still doing those things for?
Right.
And why are you still lifting like that? Like people might see, I might post every now and then, you'll see me doing 90s, like dumbbell bench press.
I remember the last I saw you doing some pretty heavy squatting, and you said that you weren't going to do that anymore.
No.
You said, hey, I'm doing it this time, but I don't.
I had to listen to my body.
Kind of
but my point is, when I'm doing that or squatting 225 but understand, I'm coming from a place of I used to do 150s on the dumbbells.
Right.
I used to warm up with 350.
That was warm up for you.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay, my body can still, my tendons are good.
Just doing a check.
But if I can't do at least 10 reps, I'm not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not happening.
You know, you just made
I think those are the three things.
Just made a fan. Those are three great things. She just made a fantastic point. Like people argue so much about what routines are right or what diet is right, or man, it's listening to your body. If it works for you, that doesn't mean it's going to work for me.
100%. But not everyone can go to the 12 and the 720. It's not going to happen. No.
Right. And not everyone responds to, certain foods the way your body will respond to
100%.
or certain workouts. But if you're looking for a cookie cutter method, it's just not there. You have to listen to your body and then do the things that work for you.
True. Very true.
Now I want to get back to one thing because it kind of touched me. You have mentioned your relationship with Tyler and how part of that relationship at one time became a bit resentful. You all maybe clashed a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
I'm just listening to your words. Go ahead.
Right? Like that really hit home for me. And then I wish we would have been talking about that on camera. I don't know if you could repeat everything you said, but what you said was, you have to let him kind of grow up and be a man and express himself.
Well, I can tell you exactly what happened, but understand the context was based on the fact that, he has spent, I could say his entire upbringing with his dad being the one taking him to the hospital. His mom was involved, so let's keep that.
Yeah, no.
But
I get it.
His dad going with him to appointments, his dad being the one talking to the doctors, his dad having him and his sister Sky learn how to read charts because I wanted him to be in a position when he got older to be able to, when the doctor goes, hey, here's your blood work, to know what does this blood work mean. So I had them learning it together. So his dad was always involved. with everything he was doing, helping him put together concerts when he was, when he first started singing and doing stuff. So as he got older and then he's in college, I only knew one way, which was always to be involved. Oh son, he said, hey dad, this bar just contacted me, or this club wants me to play. I'll talk to him. So I was used to taking control. Mm-hmm. And then when I started the Ransom Coffee Beans, I had everything about him. Like you could pick a coffee and it had his video playing jazz. And so eventually what happened was he sent me a long email. Because Tyler is not the best at conversing, mm-hmm. Where it's going to be some perceived hostility. So he sent an email, and I took that email and I actually printed it out and had it, it's in a frame. So I was like, wow, this is the day my son became a man. Because he sent an email, he said, Dad, I just want you to know, first of all, how much I love you. I don't think he'd mind me sharing this. And nothing I'm going to say is indicative of me not appreciating everything you've done for me. However, I really would like to accomplish things on my own without, he said, when you introduce me to someone, they expect me to have a personality like you. And I'm the exact opposite. Tyler's very laid back. He's very chill. He's an artist. Mm-hmm. And he said, I would like to be able to reach out to you if I need help, rather than you always taking over, because when you're around, I feel less than. And I read that, I started crying. Wow. I went from feeling angry at his email to I started crying, and I said, damn. And he said, and to be honest, I don't drink coffee. I've never wanted to be a part of that. I was like, damn. So I had such mixed emotions.
That's deep, bro.
Yeah, I had such mixed emotions. And I said, and I called Skylar, because me and Skylar are like this in reference to our personalities are very similar. Mm-hmm. And, and Sky's very funny, but she's much like Judge Judy. So I was like, okay, let me take him off everything and let me give him his space and let him do what he wants to do. And, I said, but hey, and eventually we got to a place where he would reach out. Like now he'll reach out and say, like recently he got this gig that's going to come mm-hmm. out, modeling thing for a well-known luggage company.
Okay.
And so he had sent me their offer to him and says, Dad, what do you think?
Check it out.
So these things I get involved with when he asks. So then I said, okay, this is what I'll send you my written response, mm-hmm. and you can change it
now,
into yours.
Let me ask you a question. So after you ran,
so that's where we got to
gambit
now.
of emotions, right?
Yes, gambit. Good
where
word.
did you end up? Like, where was your perspective about like his transition? Like, after you said you felt angry at first, and did it build an understanding between you and him?
It had to.
Get a chance to kind of see him as
it
a
had
mature and man.
Well, you're taking it a little too far, but anyway. But it let me know. I appreciated the fact he could speak up to me, even though it was via email. I appreciate it because I knew that took a lot.
It takes a lot, yeah.
I knew it took a lot, and it took a lot for me to breathe it and go. I'm sorry to breathe, take it in, let it marinate, and not be in my feelings.
Right. Now I want you to stop there. Why I wanted to talk about this, and this is so. Do you know how many people I know, even close friends, who are estranged from their sons? Because when their sons reach out to them, like Tyler reached out to you, right? Because to some degree, if we're involved fathers, we do. Like, Tyler went through the health thing, but even in other aspects of his life, you were the caretaker when they're young, when they're children,
sure.
Right?
Yep.
They're needy. My sons, I did everything for them. I made all the decisions. My son told me, Dad, when I was young, if you told me jumping off this roof right now make me a better person, I would do it. But then they all get to that point where grown ass man, I'm growing up. I want to do a little thinking on my own, Dad, right? I remember when I ran into it with my son, it was over, he started fighting, right? My oldest son.
Okay.
I said, son, in that fight, you should have did this and you should have did that. And you're training when you do this and you should. But Dad, I thought this was a better way because in my strategy. And he's trying to talk it out with me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my mind, this dude is pushing back. What happened to, Dad, you're right. I start getting in my feelings.
I'm ready to jump off the bridge, Dad.
Right, right. I'm getting in my feelings. Then my other son, Dad, I want to major in this. Why would you want to major in that? You should do this and you should do that. No, Dad, I'm getting in my feelings. Looks like that first feeling you get is kind of anger, right? And then I'm kind of, all right.
Gotta breathe.
Right?
Gotta breathe.
It's like, man, these dudes are growing up.
Yeah.
They want to make some decisions on their own. So now I turn into more counselor. Like you say, he'll send you the contract. Dad, take a look at this. Oh, I'll counsel you on that, son, right? But ultimately, they have to live with their decisions,
yeah,
right?
For sure, 100%.
I know so many fathers who can't get to that point. So many that are estranged from their children because they keep wanting to make the decisions. Then they get resentful of their sons because their sons, hey, Dad, back off just a little. I got this, right? And they can't do it. They can't make that transition.
I get it. I get it, but I don't get it. Because understand, that's why I said I needed to provide context.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to assume, knowing myself, had he not had the illness that he has, and I had to be that involved,
right,
I wouldn't have dealt with what I dealt with the way
to that level. Huh?
Yes, because like for instance with Skylar, I have issue with her no longer being around as much, of course, but I have no issue like she says, Dad, I want to go study abroad in the Netherlands. Please go, enjoy yourself.
And that's your baby girl.
100%. But hey, you do you. When you need, because I know if she needs help, she will ask for help. I don't need to oversee.
Man,
I don't need to.
Of just an amazing parent that you're able to.
Well, come on. I know Sky also spent many years in jiu-jitsu, and I didn't care if she won any tournament. I cared if she could choke out a dude. If she
could protect herself.
That's what I cared about. Yeah.
Right.
So.
That is amazing. Now let's kind of.
But did I answer your question?
Absolutely, bro. You are intriguing. Have you here all day.
But I'm going to interject and say in reference to when you were talking about the three things.
Yes.
Under the whole listen to your body, that also goes into as you get older and you go through, as most men who don't want to go and get, I'm going to segue this and then you can get back to coffee because it makes sense. In reference to getting your prostate checked.
Oh, absolutely.
How many men do you personally know that don't want to go in and get that prostate checked? Because you know what has to happen for that to happen.
Absolutely.
When the doctor says, okay, drop trowel, which is an older term, right?
Right.
Bend over and let me put this, man, and put the glove on. Man, come on, man. Come on. Anyway, having gone through prostate surgery and getting more than 65% of my prostate taken out, I can tell you that the most difficult thing for me ever, physically speaking, was the recovery. And the recovery meant when the doctor said, okay, for this amount of time, don't do anything. Enjoy just not doing anything.
For an active person.
And for me, who I told you, my normal schedule, because I'm a creature of extreme habit. Mm-hmm. So I go from doing 2 classes Monday, 2 classes Wednesday, and then going to goals maybe Thursday and Sundays, to now I'm not supposed to do anything, including walk to the Grove or walk a block. So for me to have to do, like, it took, because I didn't just, first of all, I went back to jiu-jitsu like way too early, and all of a sudden I'm feeling like, wow, this something is.
Did you end up going back early, brother?
Of course, because I wasn't listening to my body. I was listening to my head tell me, man, I can't be, come on, my body is feeling. So I had to learn, or I said, I'm going to do Runyon Canyon. I'm going to hike. And I'm getting halfway up and like, man, my body's not feeling right. So I'm like, man. So listening to your body is paramount.
It is.
So when I say that, I'm saying it from every possible angle.
Now let me ask you a question though. Because
I just didn't want to not say that because people our age don't.
Right.
A lot of
They
times don't go to the doctor for anything, and they wait until the last. I'm raising my hand. Okay, now something is wrong. I get up 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 to urinate, and barely any's coming out. Something just might be wrong. Something just might be wrong.
And so 2 weeks ago, we filmed, and I was feeling fine, right? Then that night, my stomach started hurting. I said, probably something I ate. I didn't feel any better the next day, and I felt a little nauseous. I wasn't feeling good. It's okay to be better. My wife was like, let's go to ER. No, give it to tomorrow. Felt worse the next day. Give it to. She was like, get up, we going, right? I had a bladder infection, but I let it go too long. So it kind of got to my kidney, right? And the doctor was like, no, she told me, just like you, man. You felt this days ago, right? Yeah. And you just laid down and thought it'd go away, huh? I was like, yeah. And we do that, right?
Yes.
We don't listen to our bodies. And sometimes when you don't listen to it, and what you said about your prostate exam.
Yeah. But then that's even deeper because we could go to the Tuskegee experiment, but I don't want to go all the way there.
Right.
Because a lot of people won't understand what I'm talking about. But there's that normal, and I'll speak for myself, this normal distrust of those in that, and understand dealing with these doctors my entire child's, growing up.
Yeah, you've probably had a lot of interaction with the medical industry.
Well, I'm just acutely aware of words. So when people say things like, well, let's try this and see what happens. Well, what you're telling me is you really don't know.
Really don't
Or,
know.
you know what? Well, this is the direction we're going to go. Since this one didn't go the direction, this one will more than likely. So I listen to words and I go, okay, all right. So now let me go see this Eastern medicine person. Now let me go see this. And now let me get all this information.
Alternatives, right?
And let's see if we can figure out something, because basically, anyway, I'm off topic, but my point.
No, you're right on topic,
that's
man.
my
That
point.
is super important.
So my point is, as I jumbled all that together, was I wish I could go back in time and just understand, okay, when I really feel like something's wrong, I need to not have a fear of what they might do, and I need to go in and be just very clear in, this is what's wrong, this is what I need.
And I'm always...
Does that make sense?
Yes. And I'm always the kind of person that I feel that you need to be your own best healthcare advocate.
Yes.
You can't trust in a doctor.
Yes.
You can't trust in your therapist. You have to, just like you said, be aware of what's going on inside of your own body. It should be a doctor-patient relationship, meaning they'll say, hey, let's try this direction. Just like you said, okay, you go look into that.
Those doctors, Tyler's doctors, who are very much like a part of our family at this point. I'm talking about his urologists, his nephrologists, Dr. Camille, Dr. Pulianda, who he's known for his whole life for the most part.
Sure.
But it turned into contentious between me and them because they had to get used to me. If you haven't figured out.
I mean, you fighting for the best interest of your son, though.
Yes, and I had to get used to them. So it was okay, now we have mutual respect. Where do we move from here?
Right.
So it's been a partnership for the most part.
And that's what I think people
A lot of people
lack.
don't have that, though. A
No.
lot of people don't have that.
I was talking to a friend, right? Talking about blood pressure. What's your blood pressure? Oh, it's fine. Well, what is it? I don't know. I went to the doctor and they just took it and they didn't say nothing. Well, you don't even know the number? No, but it's fine because he didn't say if it was something wrong, he would have said something.
Come on, man. Come on, stop.
I mean, you have to be aware of what's going on with your own body.
Come on,
I said
man. Stop.
doctors have different baselines. Some doctor might think 130 is fine. Some doctor might think 140 or 150 is fine for you. You don't know what the hell the number is. So you are on point with that, man.
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real without keeping it too real. But like when they do studies, And then let's say, okay, you and I walk in, and okay, you need to take this, whatever it might be, without me saying, but you should know what I'm talking about. Now, in this study you did, first of all, how long was the study? All right. Now, how many people that look like us were in the study? Were they the same height, weight? Did they have the same? Can we go
Race,
on and on? Can we go on and on?
On and on.
So if these were all, let's say, people from Norway in the study, do you feel where I'm going?
Genetically totally different.
So anyway,
lifestyle different.
That being said, I digress, please.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Great points. I know you're involved in quite a few things. How did you come to be involved in Ransom Coffee Beans?
The pandemic.
The pandemic?
There's two things I got involved in during the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Longboarding and coffee. Longboarding and coffee were the main two things I got involved with because, as you know, living in Los Angeles, there was legit everything is closed down.
Everything was shut all the way down.
It was mentally the most difficult period in my existence.
Without a doubt, for me also.
So, but that's how I got involved with it, because I was no longer able to do what I do pretty much 7 days a week, and that's go to a coffee shop to get work done. Be it one of 3 coffee shops I normally rotate going to, right?
Okay.
So, and I see the same people throughout the years at the same coffee shop sitting in the same seats. If they're watching this, you know who I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, because it's like coffee shop culture.
Right.
Like people go to jiu-jitsu at 12, you see the same people there every day at 12. Jiu-jitsu culture, right? It's a similar thing. So you sit and go, okay, I'm no longer able to go because the coffee shop's not open. Or it's open for you to go in and buy and leave.
Right.
But that's not the purpose. So most people will go, Marlon, just do whatever you do at home. No, because this energy is not work energy.
It's not the same.
It's not work energy. So, but that's how I got into coffee and learning all the different aspects of, okay, there's roasting coffee. There's different types of coffee beans. There's different type of roasts. There's different types of way to make the coffee.
Right.
And so, but prior to that, I was someone who drinks the most popular coffee drink in the world, latte, or second, cappuccino. Like some days I go, I'm gonna have a cappuccino. Right. You know, I was one of those guys, and I don't want to sound too much like a coffee snob or a coffee nerd, but I'm most definitely that direction for sure, because you would never see me drink one of those things. Now.
Oh, is that right?
No, most definitely not. No.
Tell me why.
I had friends who are bourbon drinkers, and they go to like bourbon drinking things, like, they're really into the bourbon, right? Or you have people that are wine drinkers, right? They go to the wine tastings, so you know what I'm talking about.
Right, yeah.
Or, you go into, I'm taking this way too far, but you go into a bar and you say, there's a difference between when they reach down to make your drink or when they reach up.
Top shelf.
It's different. Different taste, different everything.
Yes.
So, I forgot what your question was, but what was your question?
No, we were just talking about, now you're getting into now you're getting into the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, so my point is I want them to reach up. I'm not drinking down in the well drink. It's not happening.
So tell me.
My palate is different now. So
tell me, as a novice coffee guy, I know the difference between top shelf, say cognac and brandy, right?
Okay.
All cognac is brandy, but not all brandy is cognac. See, I know stuff like that, right? So what's the difference
that's deep.
between when they
I know nothing about those two things.
Okay. And it's aging, right?
Okay.
But
I have no clue.
When you reach,
I know we're aged.
We Louis the
But people age differently.
Right.
I got it.
So what is the difference between reaching down for the coffee and reaching up for the coffee?
I'll give you a great example, and I'll give it like this. So the goal with someone in my position that doesn't have a coffee shop, doesn't have a large coffee brand, is to get subscribers or get companies or get large orders that are going to come in every month. Like, okay, I know this. So my goal was, okay, I'm reaching out to who? Like the Cochrane State Prison, the different prisons. Because now I just totally drew a blank on all the prisons here in California. But my goal was, let me reach out to these prisons because these inmates drink coffee, right?
Right.
Or I'm sorry, incarcerated people drink coffee, whatever the word people use now. So what I learned very quickly was there's a reason why, like when I'm doing the paperwork, I'm online, I'm bidding to have my coffee bid on to how much will you pay to so I can get my coffee in these prisons. And then I realized very quickly why I have no chance. Because the same coffee company has been servicing all these prisons. Let me speak of just California, but I'll leave it there. Since the inception. And that coffee is never going away. And it is the wellest of the well when you're talking about reaching down to the well drinks. And you have a lot of elderly people. This is the only thing they're drinking. You already know what I'm talking about without me telling you, but that's what the inmates are drinking. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Folgers, Maxwell House.
Right.
So, respectfully speaking, I would never drink those coffees.
I mean, keep it real. Like,
I mean,
what?
I'm not Skylar, because Skylar would get on here and say something different. I'm simply saying, but if you're a person who that's all you have drank, that's all you're going to drink.
What is the difference? All right, what's the problem?
You just talked about all cognac is not
right.
a term you use. So if I give you this Folgers, here you go. Let me give you some instant coffee.
I'm thinking Folgers, and then I get Ransom coffee beans. Coffee is the same thing.
We already know you don't think that because you've had some of my coffee.
Right.
But if you drink this and you drink that, first of all, you're going to spit this out. What is this? So, but if it's all you've ever had, it's all you know, right? Let's go back to what you put in your body.
Right.
Let's talk health and fitness, right?
Okay.
Someone like you're going to the farmer's market. Let's keep it real. How many people that look similar to us even go to the farmer's market?
Not me.
That's a shame, right? But like they go to Popeye's chicken, with all due respect. Am I getting too deep here?
Now it's clicking.
Hey,
all right, are you saying that the difference between Folgers and a premium coffee like Ransom Coffee Beans is kind of like getting regular chicken, specialty coffee, getting regular chicken or either free range, pasture
how about we go to that free range, organic, grass-fed, which is interesting to me that something has to say grass-fed when you think to yourself, shouldn't all cattle or chicken be eaten? What is going on?
What else are they eating?
Well, I switched to beef there.
Right.
But my point is, okay, so you mean the way it used to be back in the day, where the cattle ate?
So these are low-quality coffee beans. The Folgers and the Maxwell House.
It is safe to say that these, in my opinion, as a coffee nerd / snob, yes, that would be the answer. However, I'm aware that if someone drinks that, like I have a friend of mine who is an avid, buys Ethiopian natural beans from me constantly. And his father-in-law is an avid coffee drinker, and he will only drink Folgers Crystals because that's all his father drank, and that's all his father's father drank, and that's all he's going to drink. So my goal is never to try to tell this person, oh, that's not good coffee, or no, drink what you drink. If that's what you drink, keep drinking what you drink.
Because
not everyone is going to drink the cognac, right?
Look.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
They're going to drink what is ever down there. Hey, just give me that.
If they've been used to drinking it.
Hey, that's good enough. I'll take that.
But then, okay, take me for example. I didn't know. I just bought the cheapest, most affordable coffee.
Let's stop there. You can go into the grocery store. And go down an aisle that's the coffee aisle. How much coffee do you see? A lot, right?
A ton of it.
And I'm just curious, do you ever think to yourself, first of all, my first job was at a grocery store, right? So you learn when you're putting the groceries up on the shelves, you put the one that is the least, in the front, you put the ones that, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, most popular.
No, not most popular. Like this is getting ready to expire next week. Put those up first. Put the other ones behind.
Right.
And
get those sold.
Yeah, okay. Or not. Mm-hmm. So they put everything up, so you have coffee up there. And do people ever, when they go to coffee, they go, oh man, this is $10 for a pound.
That's all I look at.
Wow. Right. But do you ever turn over and say manufactured, which means roast date? When was it roasted? And some of it might go, it's like, what is the date now? It's May, right?
Yes, May 18th.
May 18th. So let's say this date says May 18th, 2024. Wow, this coffee's been in here since 2024. So it was roasted a year ago, or 6 months ago, or 5 months ago. So you'll have a whole aisle of coffee that has been roasted at different various dates.
So it's just been sitting there.
That's correct.
Wow.
So you tell me, how do you think that's going to affect the taste?
Yes, it would.
However, if you have an uneducated palate and you just, hey, I just want some coffee. I just want to wake up in the morning. Then it doesn't matter. Then go ahead, buy that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now I remember, all right, I always just bought the cheapest, most affordable, right? And then it's like,
but you know what? That's like going to the cheapest, most affordable jiu-jitsu school.
Right. I mean,
there's a difference.
It sucked, right? But I didn't know.
But there's a difference.
I did it because I didn't know any better, right? I didn't know any better. Then,
but let me ask you a question. Then when you go to, in this case, we're talking about Cabrinhas, and you roll with a purple belt there, it's different than that purple belt at the
night and
school.
day.
So then you say, wow. So but is this making sense?
Yeah, see, it's clicking to me now. Okay. The only reason I looked into buying premium coffee, is that what you call it? Premium? Specialty coffee.
Sure.
It's because you started distributing coffee. And I go, well, I'm going to support my friend.
And I appreciate that.
That's why I did. I didn't do it. I want better coffee. I didn't know if it was a thing called better coffee. I bought it. Right? I didn't know. I thought all coffee was the same. So I bought your coffee. And this tastes different. I noticed it tasted different from jump.
Man, when I tried Blue Mountain from Jamaica, I was like, oh my God. There's a reason why the price is this price. This is not a price, this is an investment. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I want to taste this. Yeah, so it's different.
It's different. And my wife immediately noticed the difference. She's like, oh, I had one of the coffees that you bought. It tastes pretty good. I was like, I know, huh? So when friends come over and we have coffee, I said, I'll let them check it out. What do you think? I said, oh, that was pretty good. So the difference is freaking noticeable, man.
It's noticeable in the flavor notes.
Yes.
The flavor notes are noticeable.
Because when you go to your website and you start to describe your coffees, right, and you'll say it has a hint of this and a touch of that, you can freaking taste it or smell it in the coffee.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So I always try to, try a different one when I order, but I mean, they're all amazing. So around the pandemic, you decided just to take your love for coffee.
I didn't know I had a deep love for coffee. What I knew is I spend every day at coffee shops, and now I can no longer do that. What can I do? And so I started studying coffee.
Is that the entrepreneur in you coming out?
100%. And I started longboarding. I was like, man, maybe I said I'm too old to skateboard. Let me try longboarding. So
you just said, I guess.
I ended up buying all these different longboards, buying the shoes for longboards,
you got all into
reading the blogs.
You got all into it.
I had friends that were longboarders that I met online, and we'd meet up in Venice and longboard.
Are you pretty good at it now?
The pandemic ended. I stopped longboard. I gave all my longboards away.
That was just your therapy during the pandemic.
Falling. I will tell you that learning how to fall in jiu-jitsu and having done some judo back in the day helped immensely with falling on longboarding.
longboard?
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, for sure. But no, after that,
You gave it up, but you didn't give coffee up.
no, because that I'll never give up.
Right.
No.
Now, I reached out.
You know, if the doctor said, "Hey, Marlon, you need to stop drinking coffee today, or you'll be dead tomorrow," I'd be like, "Well, damn, I need to get all my affairs in order. Let me call my kids. Let me make sure my life insurance policy." Because I've given up so many things throughout this long life.
Keep something that makes me
Yeah,
happy, right?
I said, this is the last thing. I'm not giving up that. I've given up everything else.
Okay. In that regard,
Giving up things?
it's giving up coffee in particular. You got this craze now, right? Everything's bad for you. Things we've been doing for, I don't know, humans have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. Humans have been drinking coffee for a long time. Now you get certain experts telling us that coffee isn't healthy for us. What do you think about that?
This is my thought on that. First of all, there's many studies you can find on any topic. Lifting weights. I can give you a study showing how this is the worst thing to do.
Yes.
Running. I can give you a study. This is the best thing. This is the worst thing, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with coffee. You can pull up Mayo Clinic studies that give you a litany of reasons why you should drink coffee, right? Then you can have some other medical research that'll say, these are the reasons why you shouldn't drink coffee, right? Only thing I know is it goes back to what you said much earlier, and that's everyone is different. What works for one might not work for another, right?
Yes.
In reference to working out, eating, everything, for the most part, correct? Because there's no cookie cutter anything. If we've established that, in reference to coffee, all I know is there's studies that show, one, it's good for what? Heart health,
Yes.
Diabetes 2, liver cancer, Alzheimer's. I could continue. However, let's put it into proper context. I'm not talking about coffee like we described that maybe our parents used to drink or the
Folgers, Maxwell House.
Well, I'm not, let's keep it real.
Okay.
Let's keep it real. How many people will drink coffee and how much sugar do they put in it?
Oh.
How much, I want an extra this, frappe this. Let me put all this on top of it, in it. Are we counting this as the coffee that's good for you? No, I'm not. That's kind of like you get a baked potato and you put the sour cream and this and that.
Bacon bits and all that, right?
Now this went from being a complex carb to being what? So let's keep it real. So if we're talking about you're drinking top shelf specialty coffee, let's say a medium roast, which has less caffeine than the light roast, which has the most caffeine, and it has more caffeine than the dark roast. Let's say we're drinking a specialty from the motherland, Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, one of these coffees. Does it have these health benefits? I'd say 100% for sure. So do I drink at least 2 cups every day? Like clockwork, 100%. Is my last cup of coffee normally at 11 o'clock at night? Generally, yeah. And so people go, oh my God, how do you drink coffee that late at night? And by the way, Danny used to say the same thing, like, oh, she drinks coffee late at night too. I don't know if she wants me to say that or not. But, and they go, you have problems sleeping. I said, no. There's a difference in having problems sleeping and having insomnia. I've had insomnia my whole adult life. I said, but I can drink this coffee at midnight and go lay down and go to sleep, no problem.
And that's crazy you said that.
Because I'm not drinking the lightest of roasts that has the highest of caffeine
amount
content.
of caffeine.
No,
Right.
no.
It's a caffeine content. Because I like drinking coffee later sometimes, right?
I like drinking coffee later every day.
But sometimes I won't do it because the study says I can't sleep. But I never had problems sleeping if I drank coffee later. But I'm just letting the studies get to my head.
Like I said, what did I say? The 3 things. One of those was listen to my body.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I reached out to our followers, right? Because I knew I would have you on and I wanted to get, some really good, just get a deep dive into your expertise on coffee. And they gave me a list of questions.
Which I think I've answered.
You answered many of them, but I'm going to pull the list out to make sure that you touched on everything. And you went into this a little bit, but I just want to get definitive here. All right? What's your favorite way? What's your preferable way to drink coffee?
It depends on how I'm feeling that day, but there's a lot of different ways to brew coffee, right? Mm-hmm. There's ways where there's going to be a filter, and let's do a pour over, right? Where the water's going to go through the coffee, and you're going to get it into that. And then there's a way where we can submerge the coffee, which would be the French press, where the coffee's at the bottom and the water's on top, and the coffee's submerged in the water, right? So these are two different ways, right? Then you have regular coffee maker.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to brew coffee.
Like the K-cups?
A lot of different ways to brew coffee. So it's all personal preference and what you want to taste.
Do they taste different? Because I only usually pour over.
To answer your question, yes. Yes, they all taste differently, but it depends on the type of water you're using. It depends on the temperature of the water you're using. It depends on the recipe that they're using. If you go to a specific coffee shop that is a coffee roaster, generally they will have more astute baristas. I don't want to get real super nerdy on you, but I'm talking about when you go, what's your recipe? And they go, oh, well, what we normally do for an espresso shot, we do 18 grams and we do a 36 draw for the water coming through and the coffee coming out.
Okay.
Or they can say, okay, for me, when I'm at home doing the Chemex, which is a pour over contraption, so to speak, I'm doing 24 grams of coffee and 300 of water. So you got to have a scale. So normally when coffee people talk, they'll go, did you dial that coffee in? Yeah, I just dialed it in. Meaning, you know what I'll compare it to? I'll compare it to going to jiu-jitsu and you're practicing a move, right? Could bring you a shoulder move, and then, okay, now we're going to work from that position.
Positional training.
Right. But you keep trying that move because you're trying to dial it in to where you have it where it works for your body, right?
Right.
Because his legs are much shorter than
Might make
ours.
some tweaks for your
Yeah,
body.
so now I've dialed this triangle in. Like my daughter's favorite move is a triangle. She has long legs. She can normally get people with it. So my point is you've dialed it in. Same thing with coffee. Okay, let me try it for how I like the taste. Let me try 24 grams. Man, this doesn't taste as good. Let me try it with 26 grams. Okay, let me try it with 250 of water. Oh, this is my sweet spot. Got it. So with this pour over, with this Chemex machine, this is my sweet spot. Let me use the V60, which is another way to do a pour over. Or let me do this French press. And now
you just kind of keep experimenting till you find something that you like.
Or you can Google and say, hey, what's the best coffee recipe for a French press? And they might say this many grams of coffee, this much water. But my point is this what you like? You don't know till you try it.
Got to try it.
Boom. And then you try it and you go, okay.
Are you saying don't be scared to like make slight adjustments?
No, it's you're the one drinking it.
Right.
Drink it to where you're gonna like it.
Got it.
And then when you get what you like, stick with that.
Rock with that.
Yeah, like you go the brandy or whatever, you go.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Just from your viewpoint and just your opinion, right? What do you think?
And everyone has an opinion.
Yeah,
so
and I'm trying to get yours because
it.
you know a lot more about this than most of us. What is your opinion on a daily limit of coffee?
We go back to listen to your body. Come on, man. These are pillars.
Okay. So it's not just one thing.
Some people will go, oh my God, I have 1 cup a day and I'm jittery. Okay, well maybe you shouldn't have that one. Maybe you should have half a cup a day.
Right.
I have 2 to 3 cups a day. I'm fine. So for me, I'm good.
I want you to know how valuable this is because you just said,
But again, the context is what type of coffee are you drinking? Are you drinking something and you're putting, like I'll tell you, pre-pandemic, I'm ordering that latte, and I say latte with a bit of sarcasm, and I'm putting 12 packets of the raw sugar in each one. Like normally I used to say, hey, if the stick is not standing up,
Hey, would you?
Hey, I'm keeping it real. I used to. Hey,
Would you like some sugar? Would you like some coffee with your sugar?
that's what people used to. The baristas used to look at me like this. And then after pandemic, I came back. I was a different person.
Right.
Wow. That's like all of a sudden you come back. You've been training somewhere else, and then you come back like, wow, what the hell? Look at this.
Right.
Yeah. I used to be able to pass his guard all the time. Now
I can't.
You're right.
So you're saying this is strictly listen to your body.
That's what I'm saying.
Caffeine affects all of us different. The amount.
Sure. Some people it gives you focus, gives you energy, can give you brain power. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. That is a really good answer. So
it's just my answer. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just my answer.
You answered most of these.
Yes, sir. I'm aware.
Okay. And any of you, make sure you follow him at Ransom Coffee Beans. He does this great series of when he goes around the coffee shops. And I want you to particularly look at the episodes when he brings his daughter, Skylar. Because she's a beast. I know coffee shops hate to see her coming. Oh, Lord.
Some.
I mean, she keeps it real, though. When she gives a coffee shop a high rating, you know that's a bomb coffee shop. But he goes around the coffee shops and he kind of rates them for us. Now,
but I also have my series where I call it my appreciation tour, where I take coffee to people like my urologist, who I took coffee to. And by the way, he sent me, I got the nicest card from him thanking me for that gesture. And now the reason some of the nurses had sent me a message on my link from the hospital saying that he was in his office in his feelings after I said, hey, I just want to thank you.
That's a great gesture.
Because he said he gets so many people are upset about their surgery or, hey, I've got to get enough.
Only complaints.
Right. So from him, my tattoo artist, my mechanic. So I have found people like that probably people don't give thanks to.
Right.
And I give them coffee. And even if they don't drink coffee, they know someone who does. And they say, hey, I gave that to my friend who loved it. And
yeah.
So
anyway, I mean, it's amazing content on there. So
anyway,
make sure you follow.
Just to interject. So anyway.
And on his series that he does where he visits coffee shops, it affected me because I only would go to the large chains, right? Mm. And I go, oh, that's cool. So now when I see the smaller chains in areas that I go to, I feel more comfortable giving them a visit because of watching their videos.
That's good to hear.
No, real talk.
That's good to hear.
So now I want to get your thought on the big chains versus the smaller coffee shops.
You've already answered the question, sir. That's like going to, let's say, would you say, wow, I shouldn't say that, but I'll say it. Gracie Baja. Mm-hmm. They're everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
Some people compare that to the Starbucks of Jiu-Jitsu.
You know you're gonna have them rush us now. They're gonna do a dojo rush.
I'm simply saying there's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. Right.
Now I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm simply saying it's a chain, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have just in reference to coffee, me personally, when you have a large chain, generally speaking, they're gonna mass purchase beans, right? Because it's volume. How many people go in the place that has the green thing? They go there every day because that's what they gotta. Yeah. They gotta go. So a lot of beans they're purchasing. First of all, coffee's not a bean; it's a fruit. So when you think about it from the concept of
all right, that just messed me up.
When you think of it from the concept of a fruit, you have, let's use bananas as an example. If it's green, you know it's not
ripe yet.
If it's really dark, you know it's overripe.
Right.
You got to find the middle, right? So if you're buying in mass, harvesting in mass, do you think they're taking the time to let's only get these, or you think they're mixing it all together?
They can't even do that. They just got to mix it all together.
So my point is that's going to affect taste, right? So you're talking to someone who I care about taste. I want to taste those tasting notes. I want to be able to smell that coffee first and go, wow, I can smell the caramel and the chocolate and the floral notes. I want to savor that. Not everyone is like that. I get it. Some people that want to go to the gas station and buy their coffee in there. My point is, hey, do you?
Right.
Do you? You want to go to the place that's green? Do you?
No, man, I'm trying to level up
But that's my point.
I'm trying to level up now. You got me fired up.
I'm answering your question. It's like, I'd rather go to a place and understand one of the places I go to is a chain, so to speak, but not a large chain. But they roast coffee. I know the baristas. I know the beans. I'm very comfortable there. So it's kind of a catch-22. But for the most part, I tend to go to smaller places because they have small batch roasting. They have it's different. It's different.
God, that's a great
for me.
perspective.
However, pre-pandemic, I'm going to those largest chains. I don't care. I just want to go somewhere to get a latte or a cappuccino or something of that nature.
Got it.
If that answers your question.
No, that answers my question.
So whatever
perfectly.
works for someone, that works for them.
Okay.
This is my opinion.
Now, I know we've talked about a lot, right?
We have.
And just closing out, I just want to get your thoughts on, I mean, wow, you said so much. I just want to get your thoughts, right?
On why you didn't get your bike back?
You gonna be now? Look, I was traumatized. I felt traumatized. Now don't bring it up. Now you let me go home and need therapy. I'm telling you, man. I only treat older patients, and I work at a few convalescent homes. And aging is tough, man. Getting older is tough. Like I look at those.
I would agree.
I look at those pictures of you when you were a model, and I go, damn, right? And then for us to have to just, continue.
I was waiting for you to say hashtag no Diddy, especially in today's.
No homo, bro. but as you get older, right? I mean, what do you think mentally is the best things we can focus? I find a lot of my friends, and I'm just gonna be real, it seems like they're giving up, man. They think that they're accepting being old as if they have to be limited in their functionality, limited in the things that they can do in life or accomplish. What do you think, is the best things that we can refocus ourselves on as we get older in order to enjoy life?
I have to tell you, I was going to say, rhetorically speaking, that is so deep and so true. But I have to go back to when you asked me about being present. Mm-hmm. Like when I told you what I generally do as far as working out goes for the week, right?
Yep.
It's safe to say, we can both agree, most people our age are not doing these things.
No.
Because they have done what you said. They've given up. They don't want to I'm not speaking for them, but I'm speaking for them. I'm generalizing and saying, what's better if I say for myself? I have no problem putting the work in because this is what I want the outcome to be. Not everyone is like that. Right. I accept that because so many years of my life in my youth, I was always trying to help people and trying to force people and projecting onto people without understanding, hey, this is what they want to do. I can't force them to do what I want them to do. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it.
Right.
Right? So it's like for me, I just figure out, okay, I do not want to be like this person who I just met who actually is younger than me and like, wow. And my daughter would always go, normally on Facebook when she'd see people that I went to high school with, that I graduated high school with, and she'd be like, Dad, these people are your age? Like, oh my God. Right. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be like that. I need to do whatever I need to do to taking care of my body to, again, a lot of it is looking at my friend Dallas Page, who's 8, 9, 10 years older than me, right. And is in
Dallas must be pushing 70.
69. And how he takes care of his body religiously every single day. I'd always take care of my body, but not to the extent he does. Mm-hmm. So I'm not embarrassed to say I've actually learned from him and taken some of those things he does. Like, wow, maybe he's right. So I used to eat this every day. You know, like my vice was kettle chips, salt and pepper chips.
Ooh, they're delicious.
Man, I could buy 2 bags, and guess what? I have an addictive personality, so I'm that person that if I buy those 2 big bags,
they're gone
within 15 minutes.
Right.
Gone. So I had to, okay, I understand me. So I'm not that person that can, let me get this and ration. No, I can't ration.
I cut it out. Huh?
Yes. So I'm like, so for me, it's about having work ethic, but also it boils down to what is your goal? And do you have a goal? A lot of times people don't have goals.
So goal setting is super important.
In my life, it's massively important having a goal. Even if it's when I go to jiu-jitsu, my goal at noon, I'm going to be partners with Michael Carnes, and my goal is not to get tapped out
Survive
in an hour and a half. Or my goal is he's only going to tap me out one time, but he's not going to get that same submission twice.
Right.
So I have goals, but if I don't have goals, then I'm just wandering through life. For me, I need goals. Like I'm studying Portuguese, but I have goals with that. If I listen to the outside people, I wouldn't be doing any of these things. Because outside people say, Marlon, you're too old to be doing 2 classes in a day or even going to the noon class.
Yeah.
Or
I know you hear that a lot.
Well, no, I don't hear it because I'm not listening to that. Or people will say, man, you're too old to learn another language. You can learn languages when you're young. That's when you can take in. People say that. Well, it's not stopping me. So I'm not. So
you don't let people lower your goals and expectations of yourself.
I pride myself not only on being present, but I pride myself on having people in my life that are uplifting me like I'm uplifting them. So when I have people, and I do have on rare occasions, someone might say, hey man, are you still doing that coffee thing? And they'll say it with that type of tone.
Right.
This is someone who's never even supported my coffee thing. Yeah, I'm still doing that coffee thing. Our conversation's over.
Right.
There's nothing else to talk about.
It's kind of like...
And then I'll have people that will go, hey man, are you still doing that coffee thing? Yes, I am. And you know what? I appreciate you. You were one of the first people who purchased from me. Even though you don't drink coffee, and I know you don't drink coffee. Thank you so much.
Just support.
Yes. But that's about life.
So you're trying to surround yourself with people who are like that.
People who want to uplift you. People who don't go, wow, man, you sure are awfully old to be lifting that weight. But people that go, man, I'm going to try to lift that weight when I get to be your age. Got it. Come on, man. I don't want any negativity around me in any way. And my goal every day is I'm around people that are constantly, like I have one of my good friends, his name is Essen. His motto is called Blessings Unlimited. So whenever I'll call him and I'll go, hey man, what's up? How you feeling today? He'll go, man, Blessings Unlimited.
Is that the bodybuilder dude?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And I'll say the same thing to him. And he's helped me a lot because he's always been like that since I've known him. And so a lot of that I take on. Like, yeah, he's right, man. Like, dude, I just have to be aware of the many blessings that are coming my way. Right. For sure. But did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, so I'm not listening to the outside noise, man. I'm not doing it.
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure, bro.
Likewise.
I mean, far exceeded any of my expectations. Sure did. Man, we're so happy we got you out for the podcast. I just can't wait to look at these things.
Well, again, I'm not going to lie. When I looked at my phone and I typed in the address you gave me to MapQuest, I don't really like driving across the street. I said, for Mr. Walter Jiu-Jitsu, which is what he's known as, I will make this drive begrudgingly, but I'm going to make this drive.
That's a real friend for you, man.
Man, come on,
really
bro.
Appreciate it, brother. Love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming out. And, man, all good things have to come to an end at some point. So we're going to end the podcast here. We want to thank Marlon for coming out, sharing everything with us, his wisdom about health and wellness, his life journey, and his expertise about coffee. We're so thankful to have him, and we're so thankful to have you. So make sure you tune into the podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and give us a shout out. any questions you might have for Marlon, put it in the chat. So then we can get him to address it for us if we missed anything. Love you all and see you next episode. You the best, bro.